morning, dear students. We will continue EVS 1 subject, and today we want to see next lesson number 24, that is substances, objects and energy. Okay, so let's start. First point, that is, can you tell? Write a few lines on the blackboard with a chalk. I know, as a student, every one of you like this activity. Correct? Right? No? That is to write anything on the blackboard. Correct? So it may be any drawing, it may be thought, it may be a math sum, anything. But every one of you have to like to do this activity. Am I right? Okay. So, after writing few lines on the blackboard, you have to observe the chalk. Okay. So, what change do you see in the chalk? Yes, tell me. Listen carefully. The chalk has become smaller, right? Okay. After that, wipe the board with a duster and then tap the duster against the table. After tapping the duster on the table, what do you see? Yes, when the duster was tapped, particles of chalk fell off from it, correct? Right, no? And these particles were of the same color. In which color? Correct. It is in white color. Or as the piece of a chalk. Correct? Because chalks were available in different colors. So, this tells us that when you wrote on the board, particles of the chalk stuck to the board, right? But when you wipe the board, at that time they came off. Correct? Okay then. So now our next activity, that is, try this. Take a small pieces of candy sugar or coal and pound them in a mortar. Okay. So, what do you notice afterwards? When you pound the coal or the sugar, okay, it turns into a powder. That is, it turns into its small particles. Powder means we are getting the small particles of that candy sugar or coal. Okay. So, it means that all substances we see around us are made up of very tiny particles. It means that each and every substance around us are made up of tiny particles. You must have seen how sawdust or particles of wood fly when the wood is cut with a saw. Correct? All of you have observed this, no? When we cut the wood, at that time we get the small particles of that particular wood. Correct? Okay. it means that it get proof that all substances are made up of very tiny, it means very small particles. When iron or copper, these are the metals, okay? So when they made smooth with a file, we get particles of iron or copper, okay? All substances like pencil, chalk, paper, wood, wheat grains, iron, copper, coal are all made up of fine, it means very small particles. Understood, every one of you? Okay. The small particles of various substances that we can see are themselves made up of many tinier particles. Okay, means the substances that we can see were made up of many tinier particles. These tiny particles are so small that they are not visible to our eyes. Okay, we can't see them with our naked eye. Okay, lakhs of particles of any substance must come together to form a particle that can be visible to us. Okay, it means that a lack of particles, they come together and afterwards we get a substance which can be visible to us. Okay, for example, when lack of particles of chalk come together, we get a substance, it means that chalk, correct, which is visible to us, right? Okay, so what we have learned today? We learned that every substance we see around us is made up of very small particles, that is tinier particles. Okay, so today we will stop our session here only. Every one of you, please read this lesson up to this 2 times. Okay, see you all. Take care. Hello my dear students, welcome you all. So today we will be continue EVS 1 subject and from that lesson number 24, that is substances, objects and energy. Okay, so every one of you open your EVS 1 textbook page number 128. Okay, so in last period we had learned one concept. All of you remind it. Which one is that? Listen carefully. Each and every substances around us made up of many tinier particles. Okay? Okay then. So, now our today's next point, that is use your brain power. Okay? So, you have to tell me that what are the small particles that can be seen in a beam of light that enters a dark room. First of all, tell me, have you seen a beam of a light? Yes. No? Because this is an example from our day-to-day life. Correct? I'm repeating my question. What are the small particles that can be seen in a beam of a light that enters a dark room? Please think on this. Okay? Okay. So, let's get to know more about this. We can see our next concept. Okay? So, the theory behind this, that all substances are made up of what? Minute particles. Correct? But this theory was proposed long ago by Kanad Maharshi Rishi. Correct? Kanad Maharshi was born in the 6th century before Christ at Prabhas Kshetra near Sorti Somnath in Gujarat. Okay. And his given name was Uluk. He proposed that all things in the world can be classified into 7 categories. He was also the first to suggest that every object in the universe is made up of minute particles, and he named that tiny particle P-love. Okay, understood? So, who will discover this theory? By Kanad Maharshi. Okay, understood right now? Okay. Now, next point, that is, can you tell? If there is a sudden shower, we take shelter under a roof at the roadside. Correct? In the rainy season, all of you have experienced this. Correct? Even though the rain does not fall on us directly, we get wet to some extent. But you know why this get happen? Okay, so let's see. The raindrops that fall on the road bounce off and break up into small droplets. These droplets are also made up of tinier particles of water, and that particles makes us wet. It means that liquids are also made up of small particles. It means that not only solid but also liquids are also made up of small particles. Okay, understood every one of you? Okay then. Now, our next point, that is use your brain power. You have to make a list of all the everyday substances that we use in the form of a powder. It means that the substances which we are using in a powder form, you have to make a list of all those substances. So, this task is very easy, no? Okay then. So, please do it carefully. Okay. Next point. Naphthalene balls are placed in warm clothes. So, all of you know what are the naphthalene balls? Yes. So, look at the screen. I hope all of you have seen this. Correct? All of you are familiar with this naphthalene balls, no? So, we are placed it in a warm clothes. But you know, after some days, why do the clothes also smell of naphthalene? Yes, think on this. Then, third question. Naphthalene balls are also placed in toilets. Okay. So, why do they become smaller after a few days? Yes, have you observed it? Okay then. So, listen carefully. Naphthalene is continuously being converted into small particles, but it is in the gaseous states. Okay, and that's why we can't see it when it get converted into small particles. Okay, so such a small particles from the balls settle on the clothes, and so that the clothes to smell of naphthalene. Understood every one of you? Why do the clothes also smell of naphthalene when we placed it in a warm clothes? Okay. Then, as the particles leave the naphthalene balls, okay, the balls grow smaller in size. Understood? That is, when we placed the naphthalene balls in the toilets, they become smaller after a few days. So why this get happen? Because the particles leave from that naphthalene balls, and that's why it get smaller and smaller in size, and slowly it get disappear too. Understood every one of you? Okay. Then same like that, particles of rangoli are also fine like a floor. Have you observed it? Rangoli? Okay. Then the rangoli colors are also available in the forms of grains too. Okay. Okay. Now, I want to ask you one question, that is, suppose you do not have a rangoli powder with you. Then, instead of that, what things can you use as an alternative? Yes, give me the answers fast. Yes, what are the options? What are the alternatives? Yes, correct, right. Different colors of flowers, then different types of grains, right? Then different types of, yes, paper flowers. Okay, Good. So it means that we can use some other alternatives for Rangoli powder. Okay. So today we will be stop our session here only. Every one of you read this lesson up to this point 2 times. Okay. So see you soon. Bye bye. Take care every one of you. Have a good day. Good morning, my dear students. So, we will start a session from EVS 1 subject and we will be continue lesson number 24, that is substances, objects and energy. Okay. So, every one of you, please open your EVS 1 textbook and from that page number 129. Okay. In last period we had learned about what are the substances, then who will discover the theory of substances. Correct? Okay. Then we had seen one example of naphthalene substances. Correct? Okay. So today we want to learn our next point, that is the states of substances. So let's start. You know, water is found in nature in 3 states. Water is only the substance which found in our nature 3 states. Okay. So which are those? First one, solid. It means what? Ice. Correct. Then liquid means water, normal water state. And after that, gaseous state. It means what? The water vapors which comes out from the water when we heat them. Correct. So these are the main 3 states of the water. Which are those? Listen carefully. Solid, liquid and gaseous states. Okay. In all the 3 states, the individual particles of water remain the same. It means that in all these 3 states, in the state of solid, in the state of liquid or in the state of gaseous state, the particles of the water remains the same. Okay. But the arrangements of the particles in each of these states is different. Understood every one of you? The particles remains the same, but arrangement of that particles in each and every state is different. Have you seen the arrangement of the particles in each of these states is different on the screen? Okay. So here I am showing you the picture on the screen. In that you can easily see that the arrangements of the particles were different in different states of water. So let's see, in solid state of water, particles of matter are very close to each other and they hold each other tightly. Okay. That is, there is a strong force of attraction between them. As a result, solids have definite shape and volume. It means that the particles of a solid are in a fixed position and there is a little space in between the particles. The best example of the solid is what? Ice. Okay. Then in next, that is liquid state of water. The particles in liquid states of water are much further apart than the particles in solids, and therefore force of attraction in liquid is weaker than it is in the solid states. Liquids have a definite volume, but they do not have a definite shape. They take the shape of a container in which they are kept. If you add some water in the bottle, it takes the shape of that bottle only. If you add the water in a glass, then it takes the shape of a glass. Okay, understood every one of you? So that's why they do not have a definite shape. They take the shape of a container in which they are kept. Okay. In gaseous state, the particles of matter are very far away from each other, and so force of attraction is very weak. Thus, gases neither have definite shape or volume. They can fill the entire space or volume of a container, irrespective of the container size. Okay. So, have you understood the different arrangements of the particles in different states of that matter? Okay. Then, how can we change the state of a matter? Yes, think on it. By heating or by cooling process. Every substance in our surrounding is found in the state of either solid, liquid, or maybe in a gaseous state. Okay. So by melting solid or by vaporization or by cooling process, we can easily change one substances of from their one matter into the other substances. For example, by melting an ice, we get a liquid state of water, and when we heat that liquid state of water, we get what? Gaseous vapor of that water. Okay. So this is the best example of changing the state of the matter from one state into the other state. And I know all of you have observed it also. Okay. If you want, you can do it at your home. Okay. As a result, we see differences in the properties of solids, liquids, and gases. It means that the properties of the solid state, liquid states, and the gaseous states were different. All substances in nature have a particulate form, that is, they are made up of particles only. In nature, every substances occur in a specific state. Accordingly, that substances is called whether it is in solid or liquid or gas. For example, aluminium and coal are solids, where kerosene and petrol are liquids, while nitrogen and oxygen or carbon dioxide or many other were gases. Different substances have different properties. Substances may differ with respect to their properties, and it can depend on their hardness, then transparency, color, smell, solubility in the water, etc. It means that these are all the properties of the particular substances. And then The substances were differed depend on all these properties. Okay. Can easily observe these that in our surrounding there were different types of substances having a different types of properties. Each and every substances is having their different transparency, their different colors, then their different smells, then their hardness, and the solubility in water is also get different. Okay, so these are all the properties of the substances which are found in our nature. I hope every one of you understood today's session about the states of the substances. Okay, so every one of you please read this point from your EVS 1 textbook and watch the video once again. Okay, so today we will be stop our topic here only. We will be continue our session in next period. Okay, up to that, see you, bye bye, and take care every one of you. Hello students, we will be continue EVS 1 subject. From that, lesson number 24, that is substances, objects and energy. In last period, we had learned about the different states of the substances. Okay. So, today we will discuss our next topic, that is substances and objects. So, let's start. So, here I am showing you different types of pictures of earthen pots. Okay. In the ancient time, they used these types of pots for cooking purpose. Okay. From what substance had the potter made all the things? Yes, give me the answer. Think on it. Okay. I know all of you know the answer of this question. Am I right? Okay. Then, right now, you can see some different pictures of different objects. Okay. Which are those? Chairs, table, okay, bats, etc. It means that from all these pictures, we said that objects have a definite shape. Their parts are put together in a particular way. Objects are made from different substances. Okay. For example, chair and tables made from wood. Okay. Now, next topic is energy. We make useful objects from a variety of substances. Correct. Then another use of substances is that we get energy from some of them. There is a car. Its tank is full of fuel, but it does not move. Why is that? Or when we have run a long distance, we feel tired. We have to stop. Why is that? Because energy is required to do any work. Okay. What you really think about what is mean by energy? Energy is a property of objects transferable among them via fundamental interactions, which can be converted in the form but not created or destroyed. In other words, energy is thus often said to be stored by cells in the structure of molecules of substances such as carbohydrates, including sugars that we eat, then lipids, proteins which release energy when reacted with the oxygen in respiration. And some of the energy is used when we play, when we jump, we laugh. At that time, our energy get used. So, in short, the capacity of a body to do work is called energy. Understood? Listen carefully. The capacity of a body to do work is called energy. Okay. So, energy is required to do any type of work. Good morning to all my dear students. Welcome you all in our EVS session. We will be continue lesson number 24, that is substances, objects and energy. So in last period we had learned about the energy, right? So tell me, what is mean by energy? Energy is required to do work. So the capacity of a body to do work is called energy. Okay. There are so many different forms of the energy. Okay. So today we want to learn the next point, that is other forms of energy from EVS 1 textbook, page number 131. Okay. So let's start. All of you know that we use several devices in which work is done using not only by heat but some other forms of energy. So which are those? Listen carefully. For example, all of we use electricity to run the television, correct? So when we turn on the TV, you see the pictures, correct? So it means that electrical energy get converted into light energy, right? And you heard some sound also. It means that electrical energy is get converted into sound energy. Okay. So here we can see two different forms of energy. Okay. Which are those? Correct. Light energy and sound energy. Okay. Then like that, in a solar cooker or solar water heater, nowadays we are using such a solar systems, right? So here what could happen? Solar energy is used, right? It is really abundantly found on the earth. Okay. Plants also use sunlight to prepare their own food. All of you know that. So in this process, energy from sunlight is stored in the food substances. which where they make. Okay, so it means that here which energy? Chemical energy get stored. Okay, so when we burn substances like coal, mineral oil, the stored energy they contain is converted into heat energy. Okay, we use various forms of energy, correct, such as heat energy, light energy, sound energy, electricity, and kinetic energy to do different tasks. In today's world, our main sources for all these forms of energy are what? Right, fuels and electricity. And to produce electricity, many power stations use fuels. Okay. So here all of you understood which are the different forms of energy. So from all these examples we say that energy is converted from one form to another form. Okay, but it not be created or destroyed. When petrol or diesel burns in a motor vehicle, energy gets released. But when the petrol is get finished or if it stops burning, the vehicle too stops its running. Okay, I know all of you have experienced this situation. You have learned that in our body too energy is obtained by the burning of certain substances. Correct? There are some substances in our body which get burns and due to that we get the energy. Okay. Then many machines can be run using different types of fuels. So which are those? For example, coal, then diesel, CNG, LPG and petrol. Correct? So are all substances from which energy is obtained in the form of a heat. Okay. Then when a person or vehicle moves, heat energy gets converted into a motion. Correct? So energy in the form of motion is called kinetic energy. Okay, understood? Energy in the form of a motion is called a kinetic energy. So, all the moving things have kinetic energy. Understood? For example, when the wind blows, the windmills turn. Correct? Seem like that sailing boats and clouds move from one place to another place. You know, all this work is possible only because of the kinetic energy of the wind only. Okay, it means that for all these things also we need some energy. Okay, so it may be a different forms of a energy. Okay, So, which other machines you know use kinetic energy to do certain tasks? And how do they get this kinetic energy? Yes, think on these questions and tell me the answers. Okay. Right. So, see here, a ceiling fan, then a mixer or grinder, then a water pump, and so on are machines in which kinetic energy is used, and they get this kinetic energy from electricity. Electricity is also a form of a energy. Okay, understood every one of you? Okay then. So, I want to give you one homework that you have to find out what is the original source of energy for the electricity produced at a thermal power station. Okay. So, all of you are ready for this homework? Okay then. So, what we studied so far? That is, what are the substances and objects? Then, what is mean by the energy? Then, why we need the energy? And different forms of a energy. Okay. I hope all of you have understood today's points. So, every one of you read this lesson carefully up to this point. Okay. So, see you. Bye-bye. Take care, every one of you. Next point, that is, do you know? Stores of coal and mineral oil on earth are limited. In future, we will have to use mainly solar energy and atomic energy for the purpose of producing electricity. Okay, because these sources are abundantly found on the earth. Okay, next point, there are batteries which produce electricity using sunlight, and that's why they are called solar batteries. Okay, then the heat of the sun, then flowing water and wind do not get depleted. Depleted means it never get reduced. Okay, and that's why they are known as non-exhaustible sources which we are getting from our nature. Understood? So, besides they do not cause pollution when used to produce electricity. They never get cause pollution when we are producing electricity from them. But producing electricity by these methods is expensive. And in any method of electricity generation, resources from the environment have to be used. Hence, making a habit of using the minimum amount of electricity is necessary in today's world. Understood, every one of you? And that's why we want to save our electricity. Whenever we need, at that time only we have to use it. Okay? Always remember, sunlight, wind and water are
Non-exhaustible sources of energy. What is meant by non-exhaustible? It means that they not getting to over. Okay. They must be used to the maximum extent as alternative sources of energy. Understood? Next point, that is what we have learned in this lesson. First point, every substance we see around us is made of minute particles. Second point, we can make different objects from the same substance. Third point, substances are in the solid, liquid or gaseous state. Fourth point, the capacity of a body to do work is called energy. Fifth point, all moving things have kinetic energy. Sixth point, various forms of energy such as heat, light, sound, electricity are used to do different kinds of work. And last point, sunlight, wind and water are non-exhaustible sources of water. So, I hope all of you understood this lesson properly. Okay? If not, please watch the video once again. Then every one of you read this lesson 2 times. Okay? So, see you soon. Bye-bye. Take care every one of you. Thank you so much.